Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day here at Luchan Center for Spiritual Living. And I'm going to start it off with a welcome song. And it's a new song. It's a new song just for today, this moment. And as our custom this morning, everybody, if you can, if you're able, if you're in a place of safety and comfort and peace and welcoming, please turn on your cameras. Leave yourself muted, but turn on your cameras and wave at somebody today. Let us all look at the beautiful spaces, the beautiful faces, the beautiful energy. And this song just came on my heart this week, actually probably yesterday. And I want to sing it for you for the very first time. And it's called Pray For It. Everybody hear me all right? Just nod your head if you can hear me okay. Thank you. So much going on in our world. I just want to remind us the power of prayer. If we are spiritual beings going within, sometimes we're trying to find answers for things that are going on or trying to make sense of it all. But it takes a higher understanding and deeper knowledge. A lot of these songs I'm really writing telling myself, so I hope you can relate. I wanted love, 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 love. I wanted love, 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 love. I needed love, 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 love. I needed love, love, love. So I'm gonna pray for it. 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 I needed peace, 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 peace. I needed peace, 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 peace. I needed peace, 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 peace. I needed peace, peace, peace. So I'm gonna pray for it. 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 Good health and wealth and abundance. Wisdom, prosperity. Spirit, we call on your presence. Within is all that we need. And I'm gonna pray for it. 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 I wanted freedom, freedom, freedom. I needed freedom, freedom, freedom. I wanted freedom, freedom, freedom. I needed freedom. So I'm gonna pray for it. 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 I wanted justice, justice. I needed justice, justice. I wanted justice, justice. I'm searching for justice, fighting, and I'm gonna pray for it. I'm gonna pray for it. I want you to pray for it. I want you to pray for it. Whatever you're searching for, whatever you want to see, whatever you're waiting for, whatever you want to be. Good health and wealth and abundance, wisdom and prosperity. Spirit, we call on your presence, 'cause within is all that we need. And I'm gonna pray for it. I want you to pray for it. I'm gonna pray for it. I want you to pray for it, pray for it. pray for it. Pray for it. I want y'all to just pray for it. Just pray for it. I want you to pray for it. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Thank you very much.
And with that, I'd like to offer a blessing for this service. Knowing that God is all there is, knowing that that one love, that joy, that peace is infinite, is omnipresent, is omniscient. It is always here, and it is here and right now. That love and that deep well of peace is within each individual who is listening and on this Zoom meeting right now, and within everyone who views this at a later time. Amidst all the challenges that characterize this time, COVID-19, fires, shootings, loneliness, all of the things that we are faced with right now, fears, deep within each one is a well of peace, is a well of love, and each one is deeply beloved. Each one is deeply beloved. And knowing that, I bless this service, knowing that our speaker, Luchan Baker, as he shares his beautiful heart, as he opens to spirit, that his words connect with us, that his words inspire us, and that as he introduces the children during this Youth Sunday, the children who are speaking to us on video, even though they are on video, those children are the expressions of spirit, and spirit moves through them, and they are blessed, as is everyone in this service, everyone who has contributed to this service in any way. And there are so many, too many to name, that each one is blessed, each one is in the flow of spirit, and that everyone who is attending is receiving exactly what they need, exactly what they came for today. And so with great gratitude, I give thanks for this and the more, and invite you to say with me, and so it is. Amen. And now I would like to turn the service over to our musician, Nina Porter.
Thank you so much, Judith. And thank you all, Kev and Constance. It's always such a pleasure to be here with you, and I feel really grateful for the invitation to share music in the midst of climates like you shared, Judith, with so much going on. It's really beautiful to come back to that space of peace and wholeness and wellness deep within. The Black uprising, the Black Renaissance has been on my heart, and so I share a song today called Freedom, written from that perspective of a child, that I feel children are so close to God, and they have that remnants and that essence just oozing out of them and in their eyes. And so these times when we can come back to seeing the world through a child's eyes and seeing the peace and the harmony and the freedom that we're capable of as humans. I know we are. This song is a prayer for that, a return to that, and an evolution to that. And hey, what if we rewrote the story? Remember the glory of all of our differences. And hey, what if we rewrote the script? Let go of all that old shit in our heads. And hey, what if we laid down our weapons? What if we stopped pretending
Every artist is.
hatred was justified? And
Everybody's an artist.
what if we raised the bar up, demanded a little more out of our lives? 'Cause I've always dreamed about freedom, but I know we'll never be about freedom till it belongs to all of us. Men have talked for years on war and peace. They've talked themselves blue and red in the face. Men have built walls where there could have been bridges. Hell, men created race to separate. We'll blame it on our lack of urgency. Blame it on us having better things to do. But as we rise together in 2020, turning a blind eye is something we must refuse. 'Cause I've always dreamed about peace and harmony. But I know we'll never be about peace until there's justice in these streets. Oh, Cause I've always dreamed about freedom, and I know that we're gonna be about freedom, 'cause it belongs to all of us. Thank you. I'm passing this on to the wonderful Luchan Baker for the message of the day today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you. That was amazing. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Nina. Shout out to Kev. Shout out to Robert. Y'all are not making this easy. I was calm. Y'all got me nervous now. Y'all are bringing it. I'm giving thanks for today, for this moment, just dealing with everything that's going on in this beautiful place that we call Earth. I really needed this today. And so I'm thankful for everyone that's a part of service, just being here, just watching. Your energy is felt. Thank you so much, CSL. A place I grew up at, of course, everybody knows that. And It's hard for me to say CSL. I always want to say First Church. That's what it was called when I grew up there. And I know there's stigmas now about the word church, but it will always be First Church to me for a number of reasons. Number one reason is this is the first church I ever remember being in. Whenever I think of the word church, I think of our beloved church home. Another reason is this is the place that my parents were married. This is the place where I was married. This is the place where my grandfather's memorial service was. This is my church home, so it will always be known as First Church to me. However, something a lot of people may not know is there are many New Thought churches in the city of Oakland. There's a few now. I think that a lot of people aren't aware of the fact that this was really the first New Thought church in Oakland. And so all these other churches that sprouted out, our church is the foundation of this New Thought movement that's going on, especially Science of Mind. And I'm very proud to say that about our church home. We are the ones who put that stamp right here in Oakland. First Church of Religious Science did that. And I'm very, very thankful to be a part of that legacy. I love our center. I definitely love our youth and our youth department. The universe is the soil to our thoughts, to our emotions, to our beliefs, to our actions. The universe is the soil, and everything is a seed. Every thought, every emotion, every action. And so when I think of our youth and our youth department, I always ask myself, what seeds am I being conscious of planting? What do I want to see manifest in the future, in the now? We can only plant seeds right now. Our youth teach me so much every Sunday. Just the other day, my son wanted to play with his piggy bank. He's 2 years old, and he has this piggy bank that his mother brought back from London. So he wants to play with this piggy bank, and he knows asking me to get his piggy bank for him is always a whole thing. And it's very annoying because I have to get the piggy bank, then I have to lay down a blanket put the piggy bank on, put him on the blanket with the piggy bank so we can play with the change, and it's not changing, just the whole thing. And oftentimes my son feels my pushback when it comes to him wanting to play with this piggy bank. And so instead of waiting for me to say yes, what he does instead is he grabs the piggy bank and he's dragging his blanket with him because he already knows what his father's going to say. See, this is why I love being around our youth, because our youth are closer to God than we ever can be. They don't have to unlearn all the things. They get to simply be and allow God to talk to them. What he did was went right around my error consciousness and said, what can you say now? What can you say now? I have the blanket, Dad. And all I could do was laugh and shake my head like that is what I'm talking about. Our youth are the ones who are leading this new wave of consciousness. Our youth are doing that. As I'm getting older, I'm realizing that I too want somebody to pass the torch to. And that's what our youth are for. We pass the torch knowing that God is all there is. We pass that torch knowing that whatever it is that the youth have to bring forth, that is it. And we let it go with an affirmation of, and so it is. That's what I love my youth for. Because they remind me just how amazing God is every time I talk to them. They don't have the hangups we have as adults, paying rent and bills and dealing with coworkers we can't stand. They don't have that. And so they get to come into this world with an open consciousness And that is a beautiful thing. As an African American, there's definitely something that stays on my heart. I was really hoping that we can get through 2020 without another one of these shootings. I was really hoping that. For a while, I was feeling like racism is the issue. But what I think the deeper issue with all of us, because all of us play a part, is it's comfort. I think that when we get comfortable in a certain way of living, a certain way of thinking, then we act out when that comfort is challenged. And so some are comfortable thinking that a certain group of people are a certain way. Some are just comfortable being afraid of anyone who doesn't have the same thinking as they do. We are comfortable. And what I love about Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is that we welcome new ways of thinking. We welcome it. We want to see different faces. We want to see different perspectives on life. That is what we welcome. And what I have to understand is that a Bay Area native like myself is we are lucky to grow up in a place where people welcome a new thought and a new way of thinking. That is not the case everywhere else. And so what I have to do is check my own ignorance and realize that, look, we are spoiled here when it comes to something like that. Not every place allows people to think differently. This is spiritual botany. This is us being consciously aware of the seeds we plant unto the universe. What do we want to see in our lives? Are we being conscious of what we are saying, what we are thinking, what we are putting into the universe? Are we being aware? We constantly say, change your thinking, change your life. A lot of times I hear when it comes to hip hop culture, Black culture, etc., I feel like the word ignorant gets tossed at us a lot. There's a new word that is thought of, manifested, if you will. Oftentimes it gets called ignorant first until someone from another group of people begin to embrace it, and then it's the thing to do. I was just laughing with my friends saying that it's ignorant until the Kardashians welcome it, then it's okay to do it. So oftentimes as Black Americans, we're afraid of embracing a lot of the creativity that we manifest just from being creative people. We forget that this word bling that everybody's grandmother uses now started in the projects of New Orleans, Louisiana. We forget that a gold-tooth rapper by the name of Lil Wayne is the first person to use that word, bling. Now it's just okay to say. Now we see everybody's grandmama say, oh, I got myself some new bling. See my new pearls? Everybody says it. Let's just take a history lesson on what Ebonics really is. Ebonics was an underground language that we used so that those who felt like they owned us didn't understand what we were saying. It was meant to sound ignorant to a certain type of ear, if you will. See, by you saying, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying the people who may believe it's ignorant. By you saying that it's ignorant, you're actually giving us props. It's meant to sound that way, so that those who we're trying to fool, to bamboozle, aren't understanding it. It's a way to talk in plain sight in front of you, and you just write it off as, oh, that's ignorant. That's why the handshake changes every year. Because once it's figured out and we see a certain group of people doing the handshake, is, hey, we need to stop doing that. They're doing it now. See, a lot of this is perception. Why is it that if it's something that one doesn't understand, it's just easy to write off as ignorant? We all understand how important mathematics is. Yet when we get to that point in math where numbers start equaling letters and the whole nine, and it's hard for us to grasp it, at least me as a kid, I would just be like, this is stupid. But it's not stupid. I just couldn't figure it out. And I'm able to admit that. Just because something doesn't make sense to another doesn't automatically make it ignorant. I'm ready to see a world where we're welcoming to new ways of thinking, new ways of speaking, new ways of expressing our creativity. I'm ready to see that. I'm ready for us to stop judging others because they don't think the way we do. I'm ready for that to end. And I'm checking myself when I'm talking because I do it too. It's time for us to see a world where everyone is free. And what I mean is free is, let's treat that neighbor you're not afraid of, that neighbor that you want to go and meet. Let's treat our other neighbors the same way. Not just the ones who we feel comfortable around. While I'm saying this, I have to laugh at myself because I feel that my era of hip hop is the best era ever. And it is, but still, I have to be welcoming to the idea that there's other hip hop around. And so, because I saw the Wu-Tang Clans, the Rakims, the KRS-Ones, the Tupacs, because I got to actually see that live and uncut, I'm very proud and also very biased when it comes to hip hop. And so a lot of this new mumble rap and skinny jean wearing hip hop is a bit of a circus to me at times. Well, yesterday, I had a young kid walk up on me, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "Hey, OG." I wasn't ready for that. And for those who aren't familiar, "Hey, OG" is pretty much like saying, "Hey, old guy." OG started out being original gangster, and the reason we say original gangster is because our era is the era of people going against the grain to make money, going against the grain to do whatever they need to do to survive. A single mom would be a gangster to me. Somebody who has 3 jobs and working as hard as they can to feed their family, that's somebody who's being gangster to me. It's not always a negative thing. So he addressed me as OG. And it wasn't him addressing me as OG that offended me as much as I wasn't ready to be known as somebody who's an OG. But look, I'm 39 years old. Yes, homie, you an OG. You've been an OG for 9 years, actually. And so I addressed him back and said, "Okay, youngster, what's going on?" And he wanted to ask me a question. But that's when I realized that the OG part is what really sank in. Wait a minute. So if I'm an OG, then that means, like many other people who I respect as OGs, I also share an OG consciousness, which is anything that's not from my era, I'm just not respecting. I need to check myself and realize that there is other hip hop that's not from my era that is very amazing. I need to get past that. I'm stuck in the 90s still with all music. I'm still on the grunge. I didn't even know there's other rock out. There's stuff after Nirvana. Are we living life to the fullest, or are we only staying in our little bubble? I'm talking to me. I'm not talking to y'all. This is something I need to hear. Am I going past my bubble? Am I expanding my comfort zone? Or am I staying in this little bubble, living life like this because it's just comfortable to me? So while I'm over here judging my parents for not accepting my music, my style of dress, the way I would talk, I realize I'm doing the same thing to my generation. My daughter, who you'll hear from later, is constantly playing new music in the house. And it's because of her that I can have an appreciation for the music I'm hearing now. Let's allow our youth to express themselves the same way that we got a chance to do the same thing. Let's do that. My father didn't like my saggy jeans either and would constantly bother me about them. So when I see a kid out in the world with his jeans actually the opposite of mine, all the way up past his waist, and they're super, super, super tight, do I get to laugh at that, or do I get to remember how much my father didn't appreciate my baggy jeans that sagged all the time? Just like his father didn't like his bell bottoms. Are we allowing everyone to express themselves in love, in the way that they feel called to do? Or are we sitting here being dictators, like we know the answer to everything? Let's love, but let's allow others to express themselves as well. We all want to be loved. We all want to be accepted. But who's willing to be the first to love and accept others? That's why I love saying First Church. See, that word first sounds like leadership to me. Sounds like we know what our responsibility is of being the first New Thought Church in Oakland. It sounds like we are very aware of our responsibility. That's what we have. That's why we have such a diverse looking congregation. Not just in color, in all walks of life. Just because somebody in First Church who may have the same shade as me doesn't mean we're from the same places. Trust me, we talk different. We do. And that's a beautiful thing. While we're on the subject of being different, while we're on the subject of unity and inclusion, I remember a time in my teens. Any black teen who, anybody from my era who was a teen in Oakland remembers Smock Youth Center over there on, 17th and Telegraph? Smock Youth Center was a youth center for our gay, lesbian, bi, transgender community. And it was for teens. And I don't know how this place was right there under our noses in downtown Oakland, but none of the straight community knew about it. We would just always see it and be like, wow, that looks like a lit party, but nobody ever had the courage to just walk up and see what it was about, because it was like, all right, I don't know what's going on there. Well, my friend, my homegirl at the time, she wanted to meet girls who she wanted to date. And she didn't really have the courage to just come out and say to the world, hey, I'm a lesbian. Not at that time. She's been out since way since this story. But at the time, she was afraid. And she knew about Smock Youth Center, and she wanted me to go with her. So just in case somebody seen her, she could be like, oh, well, I was there with a dude. Anyway, we went to Smock Youth Center together. And I have to give a lot of credit to Science of Mind for my courage of even being willing to go into that place with her. Because a lot of people would have been like, I'm not going in there. But I couldn't wait to support my homegirl and go into this community to support her. That's the whole reason I went, was to support her until I got there. And then I got angry because I got there and saw how much fun they were having in there. First of all, they had a big old thing of Kentucky Fried Chicken for everybody. That was the first thing. I mean, like buckets and buckets of chicken were at this party. Never once have you been to a party, a so-called straight party, and there been food for everybody at the club. That has never happened. Not in the Bay, not in the places I've been. I'm like, wait, y'all have food here? Secondly, everybody was just nice. Everybody was hugging. Everybody was accepting of each other. It wasn't this whole, I'm trying to outdo you. I got bigger rims than you do. My jewelry's shining. It was none of that there. Everybody was there in the name of love. How would I have known that had I not had that experience? All I ever heard was stories about the place. Oh, well, this and that. And of course, I was never raised homophobic, so I wasn't hearing none of that stuff, but still the other stuff that people were telling me until I actually went. What are we judging each other for? What are we afraid of? Love is freedom. Love is the most graceful way to navigate the universe. Love is the black card, y'all. What good is going to a concert if we're not all hugging and slapping five in the crowd? That's the whole reason we're here. Smock Youth Center was a youth center for everyone. It's just that the rainbow community ones who brought it to us. But they never said straight people can't come here. They just wanted to party. I am so grateful for that experience. Love is freedom. Hate is what keeps us caged. I have loved ones in every single group you can think of. Part of that is because I'm from the Bay, but the other part of that is because I am curious about other people's culture. I'm curious to know individuals. It's not just about your whole culture. You yourself are different. I want to know you. Don't ask me what I do for a living. You don't want to know that. Ask me questions about me. What's my most embarrassing moment? What am I afraid of? Which Wu-Tang member is my favorite? Ask real questions. Listen, I'm not going to ask you what you do for a living unless it's your dream job. If that's your dream career, I will ask you all about it, but I want to know you. We all know about that game Cards Against Humanity. And what I'll say about that is, yes, I have loved ones in every group of people, every single group of people, but please understand that if you're someone I consider a loved one, I get to tease you too. Teasing is how I show love, which is why the game Cards Against Humanity isn't fun if there's not a good group of people, a good diverse group of people playing it. Then it's just hateful, and that's not fun for me. Love is our default mode. We know that when a baby comes to the world, all it does is love. It doesn't say, oh, well, you're this color, I can't love you, and oh, you're this sexual orientation, I can't love you. A kid comes here with love on its mind. It's not until the parents start planting different seeds in the child that the child starts thinking differently. Love is our default mode. And inclusion is important for this reason. Let's learn about each other. Let's really love thy neighbor like we're supposed to. Before you decide to clutch your purse and walk to that other side of the street because you see baggy jeans and a hoodie, maybe let's really check ourselves and ask, what am I afraid of at this moment? I'm not saying just assume everybody's here for your best interest. I'm not saying that at all. We all got to be alert. But at the same time, let's really ask ourselves what we're afraid of. If I need direction somewhere and the only person around is an officer, what? I'm supposed to not ask the officer for directions? I'm not doing that. I'm not living my life that way. I'm not. I've been jacked up by plenty of cops unjustly in my life. I still am not going to decide in my life that all police officers are bad or all white people are bad or any group of people. If I meet one person who expressed their idiot consciousness to me, that person does not represent the whole group. Being the first means being the most responsible. I say this also as the oldest sibling in my family. I don't know if my sister is on listening right now, but I just have to throw that in her face. I know my responsibility as being the first. I want to give a special shout out to Chadwick Boseman. We love you, brother. And one thing that's very important, I don't think everyone understands what it's like to be a young boy of color in the world. And when you go to buy G.I. Joes or He-Man, you're seeing all these action figures that you admire, but none of them look like you. I remember that story. Matter of fact, I remember how much my father would it would bother him to see me just love my He-Man doll and it's this blonde, blue-eyed, just He-Man, and I just wore it. It just bought my dad's from that era, the civil rights movement, so him seeing that, he was afraid that I would have identity consciousness, like a lot of young Black girls did from playing with Barbies. He was afraid of that. And in the Berkeley flea market, there was a vendor who was selling these things that were the answer back to the He-Man doll, which was Sunman. And Sunman was pretty much a Black version of a He-Man doll, same size, same build, same corny overall outfit, only he was, he looked like Wesley Snipes with a fro. And so Dad got me the He-Man, the Sunman doll. And of course, the first thing out of his mouth was, son, whenever He-Man and Sunman fight, you better make sure Sunman wins. Only thing about the Sunman doll was that it was kind of cheap, right? So every time I would punch He-Man, the arm would pop up, and Dad would always have to end up buying me more. Eventually, my toy box looked like a bunch of bodybuilding Black amputees trying to beat up He-Man all the time. But the whole reason I bring that up is Black Panther was very important to our community for that reason. I remember being laughed at for wearing dashikis to school. I remember being laughed at when I would wear the medallions and the kufis and the whole thing. I remember Black people teasing me for wanting to express my African heritage. So years later, decades later, we have this comic that I grew up reading and finally makes it to the mainstream audience. And we get this brother, Chadwick, who decides to play this character. Now, we know how Hollywood is. Once you play a comic book hero, a lot of times you get typecasted, and that's all we see you as. But he had the courage to say, I do not care. This is important to my community. As a young Black boy, I remember knowing what that was. To buy G.I. Joes, and none of them look like me. So when I look at my boys, and they are holding on, they're clutching their Black Panther toys and all of that, I can thank that brother for playing that role to the fullest and making us proud. This is inclusion, y'all. I got to thank the rest of the world for actually making that movie what it was. It wasn't just Black people. Everybody loved that movie, and that brother played his heart out. And I thank you for that, brother. I thank you. I thank you so much. Thank you for giving my sons a higher identity. Thank you for giving them more of that self-esteem, to where when everyone else has their Captain Americas and their Thors, my sons get to be like Wakanda forever. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Let's remember to include all ways of thinking, all walks of life. Let's remember that if we're going to say God is all there is, then that means however we are seeing God in that moment, be it someone swearing on in a public place, be it someone dressed in a way that we wouldn't particularly dress, whatever it is, let's remember that we are looking at God. You are seeing it because it is a part of you. That's the only way you can see anything, is if it's in your domain anyway. So if we know that God is all there is, then let's really live that. Here's the beautiful thing about this uncomfortable time that we're dealing with. Pain is something we can all relate to. We can all relate to pain. And right now we have fires going on in California. We're having more of these police shootings everywhere. They're just not always getting publicized. And it's not just police either, it's also civilians attacking people. And we have this COVID thing that all of us are dealing with and are affected by. This is beautiful, because what better time to express love than right now? We're all in pain. Why add to it? My mama always said that when you find yourself in a situation to where you are going through a tough time, the best way to make yourself feel better is to help someone else going through a tougher time than you. Just a smile when you leave the house does that much more for what's going on in the world. Your energy really does have the ability to impact all of us. So let's remember that. Let's remember that inclusion is the very thing we need the most, regardless of what it looks like. We are all God's children. I thank all of you, my brothers and sisters, for this beautiful Sunday. Thank you so much for loving me and holding me up and allowing me to be me, regardless of how much I may weird you out with the weird ways I talk and think. I love all of you. Namaste. And now, I'd like us to check out a video from our youth, our children, right now.
Hi, my name is Ajamu Baker. I've been going to Oakland CSL for 2 years now. The coolest thing I did with the other kids, it was the Circle of Peace project. We took magazines, cut out some of the pictures, and put them in one circle, which was all of our imaginations.
Church kind of gave me like another family. It also like helped me like expand my friend group from like people from church and from school, and it also like made me more in touch with God. And it's also like really diverse, and it's like kind of like a safe place. I loved camp. Camp was really fun. Like on the second to last day, they kind of like had this little like party thing. It was really fun. I made some really close friends at camp. I think friends that I'll have on for like the rest of my life from either camp, church. We have like a home away from home. It's like a safe place, and it like helps me like stay more in touch with God. And like it kind of like gave me something to do, made me think about how grateful my life is and how fortunate I am to go to that church, because like I don't really know where I'd be without the church.
Hi, my name's Ollie. And my name is Mari. And we've been going to this church for like 3.5 years, and we really loved it. One thing I liked the most was the walks that we went on and the games that we played. One thing that I learned is that be positive, never give up, and have a growth mindset. So.
And one thing I remember that I really liked is on holidays we did a bunch of fun stuff. Like for an example, on Easter we went on an Easter egg hunt, and it was really fun. And I really appreciate Luchan because he helps all the kids and works with them, and he just does a lot for us. And thank you, Luchan.
We love this church. Hope to see you soon in person when coronavirus is ended. Bye.
The Oakland Center has benefited my family by providing a sense of community and like giving us a second family. What I've learned at the Oakland Center is more about spirituality and what that means for myself. What I've learned about prayer is that praying doesn't always have to be a religious thing. It could just mean putting your thoughts and energy towards something or someone. After service at the Oakland Center, I feel more open-minded, and I use that towards daily situations. I just think differently. I've been going to the Oakland Center my entire life. What keeps bringing me back is the people there, the ideas, and also the food. The most fun thing I've ever done at the Oakland Center was probably going to summer camp with my friends for the first time. Very memorable experience. I'm very grateful for the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living.
Ashe, I love my babies. And so now, I'd like to take this time to treat for all the prayers for this week in our prayer box. I speak my word in this moment, knowing that there is only one life. That life is God's life. Regardless of appearances, regardless of past thoughts, There is only one life, one mind, one breath, one heart, and it is God. It is prosperous. It is healthy. It is divine love. It is success. It is all these things and so much more because God is that abundant. I speak my word knowing that the universe only says yes. And so that all prayers requested in the box, all prayers requested outside our prayer box, the answer is already yes. And all is well and all is manifested. I speak this unto the universal law, knowing all is perfect. I release, knowing God has got it, and so it is.
Hi, I'm Olivia. Today I am reading a very important affirmation, especially during this time of social unrest. OCSL is a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God in each person embodies. Advocate with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees holiness in life, remains learners and listeners so that we can grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. And we, OCSL, know that the beloved community is revealed when we love each other well. I grew up on Kev's music, and here he is again.
I was so caught up in seeing young Olivia. Shout out young Olivia. Shout out Luchan. Shout out Nina. Shout out everybody. It's just been a beautiful, beautiful service. I was caught up in watching. I didn't even realize it was time for me to come back. Again, I want to just say thanks, give thanks. And if we can turn our cameras on again as we sing our closing song. See everybody. In honor of Youth Sunday, we're going to do this in a youthful way. Just turn it up a little bit. Shout out you, Luchan, for the hip-hop generation. Let me play it for y'all a little bit. Slow with me. Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God. And come on, say amen. One more time. Hey, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant.
We rest.
I hear you. That we rest in God and say amen. Everybody take a deep breath and say amen together. Amen. Amen, amen. Give thanks, give thanks.
All right, all right, all right, all right.
Thank you very much.